Today I join two AGIA members, Konstantin Klein and Barbara Winkler, to launch the book Thinking Through Ruins, which is a product of a long project that started 2 years ago in Lebanon. The question of ruins matter to many people, since every community has reflected on its identity through the local ruins. And we hope through this book to inspire new ways of thinking of our environment, of our cultural community, of our histories.
There are very different approaches to ruins that are still valid nowadays. In the Far East, for example, we encountered an approach towards ruins that is, in my impression, very similar to, for example, the time periods I'm dealing with, that is the Greek and Roman times, antiquity, where ruins are regarded as something that is certainly not desirable, and is not yet aestheticized and romanticized in the way as we very often tend to look at ruins nowadays.
In all times that I went to Belgrade, I myself am a video
The main aim of this interdisciplinary workshop was to bring together the contributors of our volume, obviously, but especially to bring the various disciplinary approaches in dialogue. We were focusing, for example, on issues such as negotiating the politics of ruins, questioning the past of ruins and projecting the future.
The discussions already today were live and so interesting, and many interesting questions came up in regard to how we can think about ruins and what they mean for people, what they mean politically, and also their use or misuse for political ends and interests. I really very much like the format of this workshop, and that we engage in open discussions, and it's very interdisciplinary. I also learn a lot from other perspectives and other ways of approaching the topic of ruins.
This church that we're visiting in the context of the conference here in Berlin is a beautiful and important symbol of war and peace in Berlin. It relates intimately to all of the topics we've been discussing at the conference. What is a ruin? Why do we value ruins? What can we learn from ruins? And of course, this ruin in Berlin is a great symbol of embracing ruin as a possibility for remembering the past, not trying to forget the past, not trying to repress the past, but embracing it as an opportunity to learn and to reconcile between parties in conflict. It's a very hopeful symbol. We went inside, we looked at the beautiful stained glass here. It's a real oasis of peace in the middle of Berlin. And I think that those are lessons that we can learn from this ruin, and these are lessons that we can bring into our discussions of all kinds of different ruins throughout the world.
The book includes contributions that deal with ruins in Greek and Roman antiquity, to discourses on ruins in the 18th and 19th century, up to responses, for example, on the burning of Notre Dame de Paris in social media. It includes various disciplinary perspectives, from literary and artistic discourses, we have political and legal, and also philosophical and sociological discourses on the topic of ruins and urination. What I think is interesting of this book, it also goes even beyond the idea of material ruins, so thinking about ruin and ruination of the human for example, especially in the aftermath of the Second World War, with the experience of the Shoah, for example, in the works of Philip Gaston, an Ukrainian American painter, and obviously in post-war Lebanon, for example.
We encounter ruins on a daily basis as soon as we drive or walk around in any city on this planet. And it was one of our aims with this project, Thinking Through Ruins, and the volume that came out of it, also to broaden our perception of ruins, that we not only associate decayed monumental architecture with it, but that ruins are around us everywhere.